accomplishment that we can put that many good players with Sudbury, a lot of them with Sudbury roots,
That's
on
true.
the floor at this time, and the rest with police roots.
And I see they've brought in a little bit of a ringer in there in terms of the player you may see running around with the black warm-up top on for the Sudbury's finest. That is Lario Pasquale, called Eli. Played here at Lockerbie Composite School for the Vikings under Coach Bill Morse, and went on to play for Coach Shields out at the University of Victoria, and then starred there for a number of years, winning national championships, and then went on to play for the Canadian national team.
And with a key element in Coach Donahue's national team success, and Coach Donahue built a team from scratch and started to build the loyalty aspect of a national program so that guys would hang in and stay till our team could become competitive. And Eli was a major ingredient in that development of that team. Starting point guard through about 8 to 10 years with Jack's teams, and it certainly paid off for the national program at that time.
The floor general. Down inside, looking again at Ontario's finest, this is a team that we know very little about, although looking at a name like Barry Munger, played in the United States with him.
He played at St. Bonaventure. Barry had a pretty good career down there. He again has been with the national team on a number of occasions. The year that Jeff McKibben went to the World Student Games in Zagreb, Yugoslavia, Barry was a member of that team, and a very important member of their inside contingent. In fact, I think he didn't make the trip to Zagreb because of back injury, which he had a lot of trouble with during his national career, and probably was the one limiting factor in his success. But he certainly was a very well respected player at St. Bonaventure and did have a good career with the national team. Big Brian Skio, who's a Laurentian player of the past and comes back for every one of our alumni games and gives us nightmares. Played junior nationally and certainly had potential to play national team. Eventually ended up playing in Britain in a pro career, which at that time eliminated you from the national program because in those days pros weren't allowed to play internationally. Now that rule has changed. But Brian certainly would have had a great career with the national team if it had got off on the right foot. Mike Forrestall, St. Charles grad, who went on to play at the UT, unfortunately, and had 5 pretty good years there. And unfortunately, I think I remember 4 of the 5 as the coach of the Voyageurs.
Played against the Voyageurs and played very well.
He certainly did, every game, and he certainly made a big difference in that UT team during his career. I think they were at the Nationals 3 or 4 times out of his 5 years, which is a tremendous accomplishment for any player. We're getting ready for the introduction to the starters. The visiting team first.
Before Joey Vickery. Now, Peter, is that in relation to Norm Vickery, who was the women's coach here for a number of years?
No, Joey played. Joey's a Winnipeg guy who played at the University of Winnipeg 1 year, then went west, but came back to finish his career at Brandon University.
Eric Bridgeland, a guard from Winnipeg.
Yes, Eric's actually one of those Canadian-American type guys. I'll explain more about him later. Dwight Walton, they just introduced, Rod, is played at Florida Institute of Technology, I think, and has played for the Quebec provincial team for a long time out of Montreal. Martin Keane is a big kid out of Scarborough. He's no longer a kid. He's played 4 years in the States, had 1 year at Oklahoma, a couple of years at Oregon. So he's been around and played in some pretty good programs.
The starting forward there, Ted Byrne, was also introduced from St. John's, Newfoundland.
And Teddy played at Acadia, was an AUA All-Star on a number of occasions there, and played in the CIU Nationals with Acadia during his career there on actually 3 occasions. 6'7", he can play inside, outside. He's got a very good program. Hunt Houle is a guy out of Windsor, high school guy out of Windsor, played at the University of Windsor, had a good career, was an OUA All-Star in the West. Barry Munger we talked about earlier, Rod.
Yes.
He's out of Hamilton. Robbie's from Windsor, played for the Ontario team for a number of years and went to St. Bonaventure. Now a member of the Toronto Police Force.
Big hand here for Eli Pasquale, homeboy.
That's one thing every time I've ever been here for any kind of game. Anybody with a Sudbury contact gets a great round of applause, and it's terrific.
And Rob Thurko, a young man that played for you, Peter, here at Laurentian.
Had a great time with Robbie. The only regret I ever had with Robbie was he didn't stay long enough. I thought he had a couple of years left, and I would have loved coaching him for those years because he certainly was a great contribution to our program in the way he worked and the way he got along with his teammates. And that, again, has been shown in the last couple of weeks with his commitment to this.
Again, for those of you just tuning in and witnessing the introductions of the team, we have the Canadian national team in red and the Ontario Finest team in the white-colored jerseys. With me is Peter Campbell from the Laurentian Voyageurs men's basketball team, head coach, and also has worked out with the national team as part-time assistant.
I think it was Waterboy.
Waterboy, well, that's still better than I ever got to. My name is Rod McHugh, and I hope you stay with us for the duration of the evening as we're going to bring you a great game here between the young Canadian national team trying to gear it up for the August 4th World Championships in Toronto. If you have a chance to get down there on August the 4th this summer, you'll see some great basketball in teal.
Referees for tonight's contest, Kramer Forth, who's going to throw the ball in the air for the opening jump, Carl McDonald and Theodore Winter. Standing in front of us, Rod.
Yeah, that's right.
Isn't he a Sudbury?
He played Sudbury secondary, one of our finest.
Boy, it's hard to believe he'll know anything about the rules with the coaching he got in high school.
And we have a drive by Thurko, and we got a block called, and again, Teddy makes his presence known, saying, hey, boys, there was the first play, and we're going to call it as soon as it's done.
And that foul was on Teddy Byrne. Good situation there, great look at Eli right off the bat. The tip went to Eli, and he headmanned the ball immediately to Thurk going down the lane. When I first came here, Rod, we had Thurk and Jeff McKibben, and they would fill those two lanes, and I think it was one of the best. I wish I'd been a better coach, because I think we would have gone a long way at that stage with those two guys out running.
Two racehorses there going down the floor and going with a purpose. Misses the first shot. Good on the second, and the Finest take a commanding 1-point lead. 1-0 here in the first minute of play.
Might be one of those nights you'd like to see the lights go out.
Ball being passed around on the outside here. Tipped away and lost, so it'll be police ball.
And the national team's been together about 3 weeks, I think. I think this is either the end of their second or the beginning of their third. They've played a few games and have been very successful in their games. I'll tell you a bit more about them as we go.
Police team is running a freelance offense. But again, with the experience that they have, they all know that they have to move every time the ball moves and get into position. Rebound taken away there by number 4 Vickery. Brings it down the court. Little jumper from the outside is good by number 11, Dwight Walton.
The last few years, Dwight's actually been one of the steadiest players the national team's had. Every summer in and out, Dwight's there, and he's working hard, and he's doing a great job for them. And I think they're very pleased to have him in a centralized situation right now.
Squally to Munger, looking for Samuels, who's posted low. Circles on the outside. Guys around Hume. The shot inside is going to count. It's going to count. And a great shot by Rob Samuels, who showed his leaping ability, Peter, at getting up there and shooting right over the top.
This could be a great game. I mean, Rob's never had a bad game in this gym. We brought him up here about 5 years ago, and I think he got 56 the first time.
I was here that night, yes. He just lit it up. We were running out of numbers to put on the board for him.
I think we lost that one 108, 102, and I said to our best player who got 41 that it was his fault. Rob got 56. If he'd done as well, we'd have been okay.
He could have won that game. I remember that game. Vickery with the ball, working up against Pasquale. Circle chicken outside on Keane and gets the rebound on the miss. Kicks it back to the general. Brings it up the floor, looks to drive the lane, turn, shot. Off the back iron, rebound thrown away there by the national team.
It'll be a good matchup, Eli and Joey Vickery, because Joey Vickery's a tough little guy, plays hard, much like Eli. A little more of a shooting process with Joey. He likes to light it up all the time. Eli's much more interested in distributing the ball.
Hunt-Hua with the ball to Thurkel, has a partially blocked Munger with the rebound up. And he draws that foul. Offensive, though, as the call was made underneath. As number 11 for the national team, Walton, had position.
That's It'll be interesting to see the interpretations on that call. In the first game, I thought there were...
Here's the replay on the call as Thurkel gets his shot partially blocked. Munger with the rebound walks right into number 11 and is called for the charge. Long shot from three-point land is up and out of play, even though it's going to go in. It's not going to count as it hit the top of the backboard.
And the one big difference the national team will notice with calls like that, in an international game with international officials, that's a no call. There's not enough contact there to make it worthwhile. The size of the players in the international game, there's going to be lots of contact, and so there's a lot more allowed to happen with no consequence.
So this game, then the national team may be at a slight disadvantage as far as the pushing and shoving might be concerned.
Although the guys they're playing against are probably very similarly used to pretty loose interpretation of the contact rule.
Samuels from way downtown NBA.
Well, I think that was a field hockey three. That was just about that blue line. He just spotted right up under that and said, well, look.
And Coach Shields say, I'm not having enough of that guy putting the lights up like that. We're going to have a little talk here about our defense.
Well, the first year Coach Shields took over the national team, the first tryout camp he had was in Victoria, and I was at that camp. Rob was out, trying out, and actually did a great job at the camp. They kept him around for most of that summer because he was playing so hard, and he's such a great guy. He's a really quality human being. And here we got a replay of this.
Here's a replay coming up with Samuels. Here's the ball. You can see the three-point line a good 5 feet in front of him, and he just gets nothing but mesh on that shot.
Dwight Walton just stood there and said, you can't make this shot.
You can't make that. Coach Shields called a timeout and said, hey, I think he can. Let's do something about it.
And the best part about that one is the ball went inside to McKibben. The defense stepped in a little bit, and on the collapse, Jeff kicked it right back out to Rob Samuels, who spotted up. And that's what you try to teach good players to do. Do what they do best. Rob Samuels, you'd have trouble deciding what it is he does best, because he can spot up and shoot. He can take the ball to the hole, and he can score in traffic. So he's got a pretty good variety of moves offensively.
Canadian national team with the ball, going to inbound it here on the sideline. Vickery swung around. As number 11, Walton, tried to flash inside. Byrne loses control of it. Pasquale saves it for Munger. Cahool. He brings it up the floor here against Bridgeland. McKibben with the spin move. And he's trying to fight up inside. Didn't quite get there.
Well, Jeff maybe should have come through on that one and up the other side. That's a move.
Shot by Vickery. Boom. Good.
Joey does best.
Score is 7-6 in favor of the national team. Samuels feeds it into Munger. He spins, looks, bounces it off his foot and out of bounds.
And you just see that little tentativeness, and that's from not playing at the intensity. The national team are probably coming off 2 weeks of two-a-days, working hard, playing games. They're in the flow.
Poole jumped out of Bridgeland to knock that shot away, and national team going to try to drive the baseline. Fighting up inside and good.
Dwight Walton inside is as tough as they come, and he's not that big. He's about a 6'3" guy, and he just takes it inside and uses his body extremely well.
He looks like a wide upper body, and he can use that jumping ability to get in there and create some problems. Munger, McKibben posted up inside, turns, little jump shot. Samuels with the tip, misses, and Pasquale puts it down.
Coach Shields won't be happy with that. This is not a team that should be beating up the national team on the boards if the national team are looking after their box outs and playing the man then the ball.
Bridgeland looks at drive, or that inside flip shot, makes it.
Bridgeland just came off 3 years, I think it was, at Manitoba, maybe 4, and was a great scorer there. He shoots the ball with range. He takes the ball to the hole.
Pasquale, long pass over to Houle. Here's the shot. In there, three-pointer. That ties the game at 11.
Drives coaches nuts. The older they get, the better the shooters they become, I think.
Well, I think they get smarter. They take that open shot as opposed to trying to get in there for the monster dunk. They just say, hey, I can make it from here.
I don't know if Hunt ever had a lot of those decisions on the monster dunks.
Way outside, Bridgeland drains another one.
Now, Bridgeland last night playing Estonia. The national team played Estonia in Toronto last night, and Estonia played a lot of zone. Eric Bridgeland hit 12 threes. That's some indication of his ability.
We have substitutions in here. Big Skeel replaces Samuels, and Forrestal replacing McKibben on the police team.
No, I think it was Hunt Hoole and Jeff McKibben.
The change on the way out. I think Samuels may have wanted to go for oxygen, but decided to come back and play. Vickery with the ball. Bridgeland. They switched off, and Samuels was now going to check Bridgeland. Fighting inside, Byrne against Skeel. And Skeel is going to get called for the block, as Bridgeland made that little spin move.
And again, there's that same scenario, Rod. If the officials aren't used to people this size, they have a tendency to call things that you might let go. There was not a lot of effect in that contact. There was contact, but there was not much happened because of it.
Wide open out there for the shot.
That's Dean Thibodeau from Dalhousie University in Halifax.
Squally bringing it up under pressure. Changes, spins, looking tough, makes a little spin move. And number 4, Vickery, is going to be called for the hold. Another little move that Eli did there, Peter, where he just sort of cupped him and went around with leading with his arm.
The international hook. Yeah.
The international hook. I mean, that's a legal play in International League, right?
Well, it's not legal, but you see it all the time. It's part of the game, and it's accepted, I guess. And often, especially when they're not playing internationally, when they're getting referees that don't have a lot of international experience, it's a move they get away with all the time because the person's not looking for that offensive advantage.
Skeel with a little flip pass inside, looking for Munger on the post. Here's his little, watch his right arm. Boom. Hooks around and spins and drew the foul.
The defensive player just can't move. Once you get your arm in there, he's stuck.
Munger with the ball outside, looking inside to Skeel. Skeel spins again, pulls up with the left hand, and it's going in there, and the basket's going to count. And there's a foul going to be called in there on number 13, Byrne, as he tried to block a shot on a good move by Brian Skeel.
Now, Brian's got a couple of years left of eligibility, Rod, and for 9 years now, I've been trying to recruit him to Laurentian to finish those 2 years, and shows you how good a recruiter I am. I can get him in the gym every year for the alumni game, but I can't get him back for his 2 years of eligibility. I think Brian might be enough to make me an almost inadequate coach. I think he might make that big a difference. He is a big guy. He takes up a tremendous amount of space.
He's a wide body. There's no denying that.
And he plays hard. He plays every year we have him back for the alumni game, and he plays with great feeling and good work ethic.
And it's difficult to teach any player how to be 6'10".
I've noticed that. We've been working on that.
6'2" guys just don't seem to be able to cut it. Munger wide open. And Skeel, I think, may be called for coming in behind. No. It's going to be against number 15, Thibodeau.
And I think the foul there is for being in the way. It's a Sudbury gym, and Brian's got Sudbury roots, and Thibodeau doesn't, so he has to get out of the way.
It was a good home call.
I think so.
Good.
I'm not sure we get those, but I think that's...
Skeel with the ball. Boyce was pushed out of there. Double team downside. Skeel, big man, still holding the ball. Kicks it way out to Boyce. He fakes the pass to Forrestal, shoots it up, and misses. Rebound ripped off there by the national team, and out comes Vickery. Here comes the layup. Slams it down in traffic. Say, here I am the man. Martin Keane, a 6'9" center, forced that one in the hoop.
And that's exactly why Martin Keane was recruited to junior colleges in the States, and from there to major Division I schools such as Oklahoma. He has athleticism galore and a great body to go with it.
Forrestal from way outside gets the shooter's bounce and makes the three.
Now Forrestal's going to love that, Rod, when you'll talk to him about having the shooter's bounce. When he played at U of T, he wasn't allowed to take that. That's the great advantage of being on the police team, being in senior men's basketball. There's nobody there saying, you shouldn't have taken that shot, Mike.
Not often you get a 6'7" guy that wants to shoot the three.
No, that's not true. You always get them that want to shoot the three, Rod. It's just finding one that can make it.
Yeah, coach, you didn't let me finish. And can make it is the next line.
I think
you're right.
The key line is finding the coach that wants them to shoot the three. They all seem to want to shoot the three, and that's they get to after they retire.
12 minutes left in the first half, and the score is 17-16 in favor of the finest of Ontario Police.
Running a little screen series here across the perimeter.
Working man-to-man in there. A couple of new substitutions in there for the national team, running a little different offense.
Tommy Johnson with the ball, played at the University of Victoria, was I believe was an All-Canadian there one of the years, one or two of the years.
Three-point shot drained down in the corner again by Bridgeland.
That's his range.
Scully brings the ball up the floor, being harassed in there. Johnson. Skeel with the ball out to Boyce. Boyce takes the shot, takes a step in, and we have a little reach foul in there by number 5, Eric James.
And Eric's a Toronto guy that went to Acadia University, just finished his 5th year at Acadia last year, had a great career there, was an AUA All-Star on a number of occasions. It's nice to see him here because he's probably, he's listed at 5'9", but I'm not sure he is 5'9". He might not be 5'8", and he plays tremendous basketball, works really hard.
Squally past the Boyce against Bridgeland. Pushes it inside, spin, slapped away, taken away here by number 11, Walton. Long pass, and Pasquale fouls on the attempted strip as Thibodeau got that long pass in there, and it was going in for the layup.
I think the referee, and it makes it a great, I was going to say it was a pretty good foul anyway. He's going to make Thibodeau make 2, but I think the referee ruled that the foul came while Thibodeau was still on the floor, and therefore there are no shots.
It happened right on the pass. I don't believe that you could say he was going to shoot it. As we watch the outlet to Bridgeland here, Bridgeland throw it a long way down to Thibodeau. There's the foul, and maybe yes, maybe no, looking at that replay, but everything happens so quickly down at floor level.
That's one you normally get the 2 shots on, I think, Rod.
The fact that Thibodeau left the floor as soon as he heard the whistle probably should have granted him the 2 points at the line.
Brad Hand out there after just playing, I think it was 38 minutes in the game preceding this one.
Bennett wide open for the shot. His hand found him standing all alone, and he puts it away. Brad, yes, a point guard for the Laurentian Voyageurs, just finished the game. Was a late call-up by the police team.
And his whole purpose is to give Eli a minute or 2.
That's true. Again, as we know, the finest being all big forwards, you don't want too many guards out there. So other than Eli, they had to go and pick up another guard in the name of Brad Hand. Forrestal pops, Skeel drives and flips, and no call being made. And there's a foul as Bennett went to step up, and the athletic ability of Walton, he got to the ball in a hurry.
Good call there by the referee. Paul Boyce, who's out there, is a Sudbury native, LaSalle secondary, and played at Waterloo, University of Waterloo. Had a great career there, one of the best players in the country during his playing days, was an All-Canadian, and a recognition that's very pleasing for the people of Sudbury.
Correct. We had a number of really good athletes come out of the city all about the same time, and when they went head-to-head in high school basketball, it was something to watch. Long way out is Johnson. In and out, rebound ripped down there by Boyce.
I always think of that 3-point line as being out there always and being a tough shot, but you get guys at this level and they just make you realize that it's not a factor, that the NBA line is the line. Shows you the step up in the players.
Long shot by Boyce is short. That was his first shot of the game. We have a breakdown here as Bridgen spots a player and splits it up and in as Boyce didn't get back in time.
The police are going to have to be very careful about that, Ontario's finest, because the national team is going to look to control their boards and look to run. They know that they're fitter and they're going to be pushing the ball constantly. And if Ontario's finest have a chance here, they can't give up easy baskets.
Foul call in the reach in there by number 8, Johnson, and we have some fresh legs coming in for the police as Munger, Samuels, and McKibben come in. Bennett, Forrestal will sit down.
Yep, and
as well as Skeel.
Big Brian sat down. And Bennett. So we're going to switch there. The national team sent in Joey Vickery. They've gone, that's a pretty small lineup for them. You've got Eric James at 5'8". Joey's listed at 5'11", and he might be that on a good day in high heels. And Tommy Johnson's about 6'2", 6'3", but a great leaper.
So what do you think of this smaller lineup the national team is going to look to run it? as you were saying earlier, that they're going to look to make the break and have the little rabbits go down the floor in a hurry.
Yep, and I would think they might spot up on the break, that you might see guys like Vickery, instead of going all the way to the hole, might drift out and spot up around the three-point line and let them distribute the ball to him there and hit that three.
Forrestal makes both, and he's substituted for, as he was fouled on that play, and with 9.5 minutes to go in the first half, it's a tie game, 21-21.
Here's Finest doing a great job.
Vickery comes right through everybody down the lane and flips it in as Ontario's Finest got caught trying to figure out what defense they were going to play.
Nobody's seeing the ball there, Ron.
And decided not to play any. Boyce with the two wide open. Mishandled the ball. Johnson inside. Too hard a pass in there as Walton couldn't handle it.
And that was a great example of the fast break the national team is running this year. Dwight Walton's right down the middle. The lanes were filled by James and Vickery, I believe. And that way they've got three great possible pass receivers. And Tommy Johnson just held the ball perfect amount of time and then fired it into Dwight, and they just didn't link.
Little mismatch there with Samuels versus Vickery. Samuels missed the shot. Vickery breaks away with that ball, shoots the three, and puts it away again.
It's not a bad fast break, is it?
No, just take it down a floor, shoot the three, come back, play defense. A little bit of holding on the inside as Vickery's fighting with Samuels there. Munger over here to McKibben, looks into Boyce, back to hand. To Samuels, is working against Vickery, puts him up and makes him pay.
Good patience and a nice hang in the air. And the national team, that last possession, ran a little trap at Brad Hand, trying to take advantage of his tiredness and his size by running at him with two guys.
Thibodeau out to Vickery, is holding a hot hand, and there it goes again.
I think Rob Samuels might want to get his hand up on that one. Joey's stroking the ball pretty well, and he's not going to miss if he's stroking the ball.
And Coach Mulvihill of Ontario's Finest has called a timeout just to see if we can get Pasquale back in the game, take Brad Hand out there, get a little settled down, get to play a little more team defense. 8 minutes to go in the first half. It's 29-23 in favor of the national team.
I think they're going to have to talk about a couple of things there. The transition game is a major concern for them because the national team is looking to get out and run and are doing a fine job of it. And I would guess with the roster Ken's got getting ready to go on the Big East Tour, he's looking for transition to be a major part of his game. He's going in to play 7 of the Big East schools over 8 nights. And they don't really have the size to get into a half-court game where they're pounding the ball inside or anything. So I think transition, he's going to have to get some easy hoops. The guys are getting out and filling the lanes really well. The one advantage that gives you, if you make good use of it, is that guys like Joey, Vickery, and Eric Bridgeland can drift in behind or push the ball up on their own, and instead of distributing the ball, just pull up and drill the three. When they go down to the NC2A games, the line's in even closer. So it's going to be an even bigger field day for those guys because distance is not a factor in their life.
Good point, Peter. Ontario's Finest taking a little bit of a breather. As we said, the national team probably in a little better condition as far as this intensity of a game being played. And I think we owe it to the Ontario's Finest. Their experience and their desire has made them a little tougher tonight than perhaps some of the crowd here expected.
That's for sure. I'm sure everybody was coming in sentimentally hoping that they do okay, but expecting them to get whacked big time. And now the national team are missing some people, and we'll talk about them as the game goes on. But these guys are playing really well, and I think the players in the national team may have underestimated the package, but I know Coach Shields wouldn't have.
No, Coach Shields doesn't underestimate anybody. Well prepared, always ready to have his teams play the best. And there's another little drag foul of the arm as Pasquale drove the lane, and number 5, Eric James, we call for the foul there.
I think that's got to be a no call at this level. I think the way they're playing and the intensity they're playing, you can't be making calls like that. Inside, there's a great battle going on inside with Munger and Keene or Munger and Walton, depending on which one's checking him. And they are just beating on each other big time. And it always amazes me that referees can allow that, and then they'll call a touch foul on 2 guards out here. It's almost like they work on the premise that big guys can't hurt each other, and little guys can influence each other with a minor touch. And it's just not true. I mean, it's got to be allowed to be a battle by all parts of the floor.
True. Nice passes. Vickery flashed through the middle of the key, and he turns and slapped out of there by Boyce, as I think that was going to go down anyway. Is that allowed in the FIBA rules?
No,
rules?
as long as it's in the cylinder, even in the FIBA game, you got to leave it alone. But if it can be on the rim,
you can slap it out of there.
It can be on the rim, and you can get it out of there. It just can't be in the hole. And tonight we're playing NC2A rules, or RCIU rules, basically, and that's because the national team is preparing for an NC2A tour, and so rather than get involved in the FIBA rules, they want to stay with the rules they're going to play over the next 2 weeks.
Right.
10 days.
Nice pass inside by Walton. Monster try there by Keenan. He missed it. Rebound the national team. Inside to Walton.
I think we've got a foul call there, Rod. I think it's maybe on Paul Boyce. A little touch on Dwight Walton inside, a hand on him.
It is on Boyce as he took that foul as the player tried to move inside on the lane, and the ball just sort of held him back a little bit and got called for it. A lot of pushing and shoving inside, and Vickery pops open. The little guy misses the layup. Follow up there by Keene, and he puts it away.
Too close for Vickery to make those. Has to get further out.
That's true. And he steals it, but didn't get the good bounce in a way that he could do something with it, and Pasquale recovered. Munger being fed inside. Ball slapped away there by Walton, and Johnson breaks it down the floor. Way in the corner here to Vickery. Round the horn to James. And Vickery with the hot hand puts it away.
Well, we're giving an exhibition of how to shoot the open three, or how to shoot the three that's not open, or how to shoot the pull-up jumper. He's got them all, and he's hitting them all tonight.
Just not a good exhibition on how to make the layup. Pasquale shoots over top of Walton and misses, and Johnson breaks away. It's a 3-on-2 break here for the national team. He's trying to go to the hoop. Samuel stays with him, but fouls coming down the lane.
Be interesting to see that one again. Samuels had the position for a block, but from our angle, we can't tell if there's any contact or anything. The look on Robbie Samuels' face, he didn't feel there was. And one of the drawbacks with guys with his ability, athletic ability, is when they go up to shoot, he always seems to be above you still. You go up and he goes up, and you go up a little higher if you can. You and I can't.
And he's got it on anti-gravity.
And he just keeps going up higher. So here
Here's
we got
the replay. And yes, he was just a little bit out of position, had gone by the player and left his arm trailing and got called for the block.
Yeah, good call with the body, up top, and that's what Rob's reacting to. Up top, he's got a hand on the ball, so as far as the player's concerned, that's a great check, and whatever else he does, it shouldn't be a factor.
Shouldn't be a factor. They all figure that they got their hand on the ball, it doesn't matter what you do to the guy.
The only time it should be a factor, though, and every player's the same. When they're on offense, it's a foul. When they're on defense, it was just it was a great play.
Munger with the ball against that half court. Way up the floor to Skio, back to Munger. Drives the lane, little finger roll, it's good.
That was a nice hustle play by Barry Munger. He threw the long pass to Brian Skio and then made the hard move up the court, got it back, and then took Martin Keene one-on-one to score. The national team were working on this little offense today.
We're going to get a judgment call here. I think one that the national team should like, as Walton, I felt, was out of control on that little play, but drew the foul on Skio.
Yeah, and in the judgment of the crowd, it wasn't a foul. So the judgments differed there.
You get an idea. Here's the replay coming up on your screen, and you just watch as that ball goes inside, and here he is. He's in the air, and the reality looks like he just lost his balance.
Yeah, it looked like Brian had pretty good position. He was well within his plane. He didn't look like he was reaching forward. And you got to take into account, he's 6'10" or 6'11", and once he puts those arms up, he's 11 feet 5 or whatever it is, and it's tough to get the ball over him. And it may not be a foul when you do get your shot rejected there.
Dwight Walton makes the first one. You get a feeling that the crowd is starting to cheer for the police team on some of these calls?
Starting. I thought they were cheering for him before they threw the ball up, Rod. I think they were pretty consistent.
I think so. I think Sudbury's Finest have the crowd behind them, and we're hoping to do their best. Munger with the drive down the lane, the nice finger roll in there. He says, I come to play with you guys.
The national team have been running a little offense lately where they're setting a lot of high post screens and rolling people off them. And if they do it, if they set the screens with Vickery, when he rolls off
a foul inside as a push on Walton. And Walton's looking around, looking for help at Coach Shields. So Coach Shields says, okay, I'll go and talk to the ref to find out what all that was about. But in any case, he's got the foul.
And we've got a bonus. And probably what you have, if we get replays of a lot of these, when you see a guy go flying, and it looks like somebody's really drifted him and moved him out of there, A lot of times, if you can break down the replay, what's happened is they're both bumping each other. One's holding the other, one's holding the first one, and then they push. And when a guy lets go, he just goes sailing.
That's true. And plus a little bit of acting ability helps in a lot of the situations. Vickery with the ball down to Johnson. He's wide open. And in and out, Munger with the rebound to Pasquale.
That has got to be a gimme. If they're going to win next week, they've got to go.
Skeel's open on the downside. Pasquale brings it back into the middle to Munger. Munger looking back to Pasquale. Munger posted up real well. Spun the wrong way as the ball came in and just missed it off his fingertips. Again, that's a little bit of inexperience not playing together, something that obviously they can't pick up in a game like this. They just have to keep adjusting as the police team, and not having practiced together, sometimes will be prone to a little bit of error on some of the plays. We have a travel call.
Well, Dwight Walton is one of the most demonstrative players on this team, and always has been. And it's great because he plays with tremendous enthusiasm for the game of basketball. And I don't think I've ever seen Dwight Walton in a gym, in a game, or even in a practice where he wasn't having a great time and playing with terrific emotion.
All right, and Pasquale with the ball. In fact, Ken Shields has taken him out there as perhaps his emotions may have taken him out of the game. Pasquale drives right down the lane. Over here to Houle. Here's the three. It's good. Nice little pass around the horn. They know who can shoot the three, and they gave it to him, and he would put it down.
Now in that sequence, Eric James wants to know which truck hit him as he came down there, and it was the new Liskard Express.
New Liskard Express set up a 280-pound screen and just sort of said goodbye.
Well, I hope you got the weight right, because I don't want you to have to discuss this with him after the
Samuels
game.
gets him up again, takes the little shot, just misses. Bridgeland fighting for the rebound is fouled by Houle. Looks like the national team here wants to play the up-tempo and is getting a little more physical. They may be looking at the scoreboard saying, hey, who are these guys?
I'm sure sure some of the younger guys in particular are a little caught by surprise. I mean, these would be names they may or may not know, and in most cases don't know. The guys that have been around a little bit longer have a little more concern over the roster of the Ontario's finest.
Pasquale now going to set up the play again. Working against Vickery. Gets Vickery up, shoots. Should be a call there. And I'm surprised that the trail official didn't call that. It had to be the official underneath.
Who may not have the best angle on that one. I think what you got there is Eli's billion years of international experience. He got Joey off the floor and then just jumped into him and then put it up. If it goes, it's a three-point play. If it doesn't, you got two foul shots.
And Vickery still talking to the referee about it. Here's the replay, and you just watch the little head fake getting Vickery up, and then a step in, and the shot.
And Joey's contention is that he's jumping straight up and down. Now, he may be moving a little bit, but Eli's stepping in big time, and Pasquale draws the foul and has made a living doing that.
Oh, bad pass there, and that won't please Coach Shields. A little mental error is twice on the floor now. The little travel by Keane, and then pass out of bounds.
You wouldn't want to feel sorry for Joey Vickery on that play because he uses the same play at the other end of the floor all the time anyway. It's a good play by small guards.
Pasquale with the ball. Munger's posted up real tough inside against Walton. Here's the pass in. And the best pass in basketball right through the hoop.
Hunt Houle played at Windsor in the days with Paul Thomas as the coach when they lived and died with the three. The long-range bomb.
James drives around Samuels, kicks it out here to Walton. He misses, or Keane rather, and he missed, and Samuels with the rebound. Gives it to Pasquale. Some heavy breathing going by me here. Samuels and Skeel both went down the same side of the floor there. Samuels wide open on the far side, gets the shot away short. As Vickery broke quickly on the shot, and then Bridgeland will come down and set up the O. James.
A little early in the offense there, I think, for what Coach Mulvihill would want and the fellas would want.
Vickery. We get a call and a kick there. Skeel put one of his size 14s out there and knocked the ball away.
That's the back half of the foot, bro.
Vickery, the long-range bomber. He's short, hitting the iron. Samuels' rebound after steal kept it alive. Samuels working against James. Little pause, hesitation shot. Vickery with a real good rebound. It's a 5-on-1, and we look like we got a block being called here on Pasquale.
They had a 4-on-1 break there. National team had all 3 lanes they want to filled, and the ball coming up quickly. So that's perfect. One guy on a defense back, everybody else trying to figure out how to get back and deciding, no, we'll let them have this practice.
Here we have a replay, and you watch Pasquale, the one player back is going to try and draw the charge and gets just pushed out of the way. And on the replay, looks like maybe, just maybe, it should have been a no call.
Yeah, maybe a no call. Although, you know, then they get into the cause and effect. He did miss the layup. Sometimes the officials will interpret that in a cause and effect situation and say, well, if there hadn't been any contact, he would have made the layup. There was contact. Pasquale did appear to bounce a little bit to his left. Therefore, we'll call it.
Okay, I'll take that one. But again, from our angle, it looked like he bounced a little bit to his left with some help.
Yes.
In any case, it's a 38-37 game with 2 minutes and 33 seconds left here in the first half.
If you're Coach Mike Mulvihill, you've got to be very happy. The guys are hanging in there. Every time they've got down a few points, they've fought their way back, made some good choices. Rob Samuels has made some baskets, but he's been just a little bit off on his good, and he's a good shooter. I mean, there's shots he should be taking. Some are a little early in the offense maybe, but there's shots he should take. He's just missing them by a little bit. I think he's going to start making some of those. So you got to be happy that you're only down 1 point and playing hard with 2 minutes and 33 seconds left in this half.
Do you think that the national team is going to look maybe to press a little bit in the second half, or are they going to go to it right now?
Well, I think we could see it. They were practicing a little bit in their shoot-around today. They got a little bit of a full-court zone pressure, and I think we might see that at some point. It depends how Coach Shields is planning to use tonight's game in his preparation. That might cause them some trouble, but Eli Pasquale has never been known to have much difficulty with anybody's pressure. So.
Well, that's true. By the time you turn around to press him, he's already running the offense at the other end.
And after coaching him for 5 years, Coach Shields is probably familiar with that aspect.
That, yeah. How to break the press, have a good point guard. First one by Thibodeau was good.
Or maybe a great point guard, and that's what Eli was.
That's true.
Or is.
Samuels brings it up the floor against Vickery.
Now that's a great size mismatch. Ontario's finest might want to take advantage of that inside. Rob Samuels posting up Joey Vickery on the blocks. And there we got it on a little switch on Eric Bridgeland.
And just a little touch pass there, missed the outstretched hands of Rob Samuels. The circle tried to get it in him as he was post up against Bridgeland.
And Eric Bridgeland played good defense. He just put both hands on Rob Samuels' right arm and just held on to him so that when he went to lunge for the ball, he didn't go quite as far as he thought he would.
Vickery working against Pasquale to Bridgeland over Houle.
One thing playing internationally has done for Joey Vickery and Eric Bridgeland is it's taught them how to battle physically at the size they're at, to make up for that difference. And they play as if it's a war. They know that if they play even, they're going to get hurt by guys that are bigger than them in the sense of the score. So what they do is when they're playing defense on you, they're all over you, they're banging you, they're holding on to you whenever they get a chance, whenever they can get anything close and the referee won't see it.
Here's full court man-to-man. Pasquale with the ball against James. Samuels runs a little screen, and there's a whole lot of fighting going down there. I mean, like you say, they call a little bit of touch here and there, and they don't call that. One of the referees goes back down the floor trying to figure out what's happening out there.
I think they had the wrestling championship somewhere in Hamilton just lately, and that's what that looked like. Rob Samuels had a headlock, and Eric James had him around the waist trying to work on the takedown.
Virgin working against Houle. Back to James. Here's Vickery coming off the screen, turns, shoot. A little short, maybe tired of being a factor in that one as they're taking a beating at both ends here. Boyce flashes the middle, spins. A little hook shot off the iron, gets his own rebound. Being hammered in there, slams it out to Samuels, to Pasquale, into Thurkel, off the iron. and a foul by Boyce as he came down the lane looking for that rebound, and Thibodeau had position and drew the foul.
Good foul there by Paul Boyce. If you can have good fouls, anytime your big guys are getting offensive board fouls, they're good fouls because they're competing for the ball and they're going hard to the boards. And if I'm a forward and I'm playing hard and I'm trying to rebound, if I can play a game and not get any fouls, I'm not really competing for that ball.
We're going to see the replay here as the ball goes inside. Here's Boyce coming down the lane and comes over the top of number 15, Thibodeau.
And early in that offense, the key ingredient was the way that police moved the ball. Ontario's Finest kicked it 2 or 3 passes. A lot of times you see a team throw 1 pass and somebody launches it. They moved the ball to 3 different people before they decided a shot that they wanted to take, and it was a wide open 6-footer.
Squally comes back to the ball. 55 seconds left in the first half, a 4-point game. Squally working against James. Circles open on the wing. Looks inside. Nothing there. McKibben flashed down the baseline. Squally again working against James as the shot clock works down to 8 seconds. Here comes the drive. We got a block being called there. As Squally knew he had to take it soon. He was working out there by himself. And James fouled him with the body as he came across, and we'll be in the bonus situation here. 34 seconds.
Not a great foul. There were 34 seconds left on the clock. We were 7 seconds left on the shot clock. They'd played pretty good defense. You hate to see a player take a foul in that scenario.
Now you're watching the replay. Number 5 will just put his chest on him, and that's a foul. As he tried to take advantage of pushing him and then falling backwards, hoping to draw something from the referee.
Definitely looking to draw a charge there.
Here's a 2-on-1 break with Vickery having the ball slapped away on a good return by Thurkel as he got back on defense.
Great defensive transition by Ontario's Finest there. Rob Thurkel sprinting down the floor, and they did a good job on those offensive boards. McKibben got a hand on it, tried to direct it to their own team, and they got unlucky. It went to the national team.
James with the ball, 24 seconds left in the game and on the shot clock. And looks like we're having a call from underneath.
I think we've got a foul call on Rob Samuels playing against Eric Bridgeland away from the ball. Chances are in that scenario there was a fair amount of contact going both ways. I would guess that could have been a no call in the sense that the national team looked like they were going to take the ball out and work for one shot anyway. But we didn't get a good look at the actual contact, but that's what it was. It was away from the ball, way down in the corner, and Bridgeland and Rob Samuels fighting for position. A very important foul for Samuels because that's his second, and that puts him out of the rest of this half.
And Bridgeland makes both of those. So with 23 seconds to go, Pasquale is going to try to run the offense. They got him trapped in the corner. Thurkel gets the ball, gets Bridgeland up in the air, kicks it over to McKibben. He's going to shoot it. It's good.
He better make that. Shooting that early, that guy, boy. I remember those shots.
National team again with a chance to set up their offense here with 4 seconds to go. Keane with the ball to James. He's going to have to jack it up, and it's no good as there's no call on the play. So here at halftime at the Ben Avery Gymnasium, it's Ontario's Finest 40, the Canadian national team 43. A 3-point lead by our Canadian national team against Ontario's Finest. This is Rod McHugh saying keep tuned to Cable 7 for the second half of this game.
Please join Pastor Jeremy Mahood and the congregation of All Nations Church each week here on Cable 7 for Sunshine. Join the Sunday morning services taped on location at All Nations Church weekly for the inspirational message in word and song. Take the time for Sunshine.
Like a prisoner released from his shackles.
Breast cancer incidence increases with age. Hi, I'm Jackie Toms, administrator of the breast screening program in Sudbury, inviting you to watch a very informative 5-part series on breast health to be shown here on Cable 7. Remember, early detection is your best breast protection.
Connaître les services francophones disponibles au Collège Cambrian, faites certain de ne pas manquer l'émission Collège Cambrian au service des francophones.
This is Cable 7, your Northern Cable Community Television station in Sudbury.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ben Avery Gymnasium for the second half of basketball action here between the Canadian national team against Ontario's finest. The score at halftime, 43-40 in favor of the national team. Leading the way for the national team, guard Joey Vickery with 18 points. An amazing 4 for 6 from the three-point line. Also, Eric Bridgeland, another point guard with 10 points, 2 for 3 from the three-point line with 28 of the 43 points amassed by the national team. For Ontario's finest, we have Hunt Huo with 3, all from the three-point line. Eli Pasquale and Rob Samuels each with 7. Peter, a pretty fast-paced, rough and tumble type of first half. The national team, as you said, used to the rougher FIBA-ruled game. Ontario's finest, perhaps playing up to that level, raised their game about a notch and a half, trying to show the young boys that, hey, we may be old, but we can play the game too.
They've definitely stepped up. I mean, the national team's played 3 games, I think, in the last 2 weeks. They beat the University of Toronto by a large score. They beat Ryerson University by a large score. They played Estonia, one of the better senior men's teams in the province, last night, beat them by 45 or 50. This is a great performance. I don't think the national team's let up. I think the Ontario finest has stepped up. Now, the national team is missing a number of people. They're missing J.D. Jackson, who's a 6'4" perimeter scorer, takes the ball to the hole, was the national player of the year in Canada 2 years in a row, so he's quite a good player. Corey Hallis, 6'7" kid who's done 6'8" actually, who's from Almont, Ontario, had a great NC2A career and has been with the national team for about 6 or 8 years. And Robbie Wilson, a 6'8" post player. They list him as a forward, but he's a post player, played at UAT for 5 years, was an All-Canadian during that time. So they're missing 3 pretty key ingredients, but they've still got a great team here. And Ontario's finest done a great job in competing with them today.
Yes, and Ontario's finest a little bit of a disadvantage, not having even practiced or played together before, are doing an amazing job of even staying close to this national team.
Makes a huge difference, that not playing together. Man.
Ball inside there, and Keane a turnaround jumper.
What we might see is in the second half, we might find Ontario's finest winds down a little bit or wears down a little bit as compared to the national team, who should be fitter.
Pasquale throws the ball, tried to feed it into Munger, was Bennett.
Yeah, that was Bennett trying to feed the ball into the post.
Pasquale dribbles, takes the shot from outside. It's good.
You saw Dwight Walton there try to go up and sweep the ball off the rim. In international basketball, that's a legal move. We've got a call on the baseline here by Ted Winter.
On the pass. It's going to be called a pass. I think the foul's going to go against Bennett. As with this crowd here, anticipating a lot of the thing, we have people walking in front of us, so a couple of times we may be a little late in what we're saying, as we're not seeing it very well either. Ball thrown in here to Vickery. Back inside to Walton. He tries a shot, slapped away. Pasquale comes down with it. He's trapped by 3 people, gets it to Munger, and back up the floor comes Pasquale. A long 3 is good, and the crowd is cheering that one.
And that was over Joey Vickery. That was a tough shot.
Vickery, long pass to Byrne.
Last sequence we had down here, Rod, on the out-of-bounds play. If we could get a reshot of that, there was so much contact and battling that it was just amazing that it was in the game of, it looked like Sunday afternoon in the NFL.
And Vickery from long range guns it back over Pasquale. Samuels brings it down the floor.
You won, me one.
Munger has to go off his fingers, out of bounds.
They're having a tough time. They've thrown that pass a few times tonight. It's been there. Maybe a little more arc on the pass, so the guy's got a little more time to react to it. The big guy inside just reacting better and hanging on to it.
Forrestal, after Munger stole the ball, over to Samuels. Coming down the lane, spins in on Byrne, takes a little jump shot, and it's good. As Byrne gets sent flying.
He's on the floor. He took a shot to the face there.
And we're not sure who hit him on that particular play, but he really took a slam and has been moved. Maybe his contact may have moved as well.
I think Coach Shields is out discussing what the official was watching if he wasn't able to see whatever happened. And I think probably what you've got is incidental contact. I think you've got two guys. You got two guys competing for the ball, and that happens.
Now
there we've got an ugly collision.
Yeah, but the trip was made by number 12 on the national team. And that's what happened. Number 12's going over to Vickery to tell him, hey, sorry, buddy, that was me. I stepped back as you went by. You caught my foot.
Now watch the position struggle on the inbounds play here. Oh, and that time there's nothing. The big guys weren't in there for the Ontario Finest to compete for position.
Byrne, a little turnaround jump hook, and it's good. Munger to Pasquale. Full court pressure by Vickery against Pasquale. Looking in for Forrestal. He's got it. Spin, little flip.
And that basket's taken away on the offensive charge, and I think you've got big guys fighting for position, and there'll be a tremendous amount of disagreement on that call.
Well, I think as the referee goes by here, he better start making the right calls as opposed to the crowd calls. Bridgeland looking inside, a lot of pushing going on in there. Munger outside on Byrne, feeds it inside there to Keane, back out to Bridgeland, and he misses, and Samuels with the ball.
Ontario's Finest point of view, that's a good sign. When it can go in, come out, and they'll miss the shot, you're all right.
Forrestal hits the two.
Nice play by Mike. Little shot fake. They backed off, and he hit the jumper.
Bridgeland on the outside against Forrestal. Big pushing, shoving match on the inside. And there's a block on Bennett as number 12, Martin Keane, tried to go around him. Bennett stepped in and blocked his avenue.
When you get Trevor Bennett played a lot of time in the CIU. You get that scenario where they're stepping in and blocking people. Watch their hands, because their hands are usually on the body too, and then it just looks like incidental contact, but because of where their hands are placed and the strength the guys have, this makes a tremendous difference on the effect.
And Byrne stepped out of bounds on that rebound as he made a little spin move under the basket. Full court pressure here applied by the Canadian national team. Munger with the ball. Vickery chasing him. Munger picked up his dribble, looking for Pasquale down low. He's got the lane. Passes it into Bennett. Nice little shot.
And one.
And the national team got caught watching the ball. And Bennett snuck in from the backside. Pasquale, being the great point guard he is, just put the ball in there nicely for the little layup.
Beautiful pass by Barry Munger to set that up. They were trying to leave him trapped with the ball, nowhere to go, and he just led Pasquale perfectly, and then Pasquale penetrated, and Bridgeland on the backside just stood and watched Pasquale to see what he was going to do, and then didn't bother to play Trevor Bennett until after he got the ball, and then was forced to foul him.
Again, Peter, the Finest team has an awful lot of experienced ball players out there, and really using their skills to their advantage.
And the other thing they're using is everybody. Everybody's involved in the offense. Everybody's getting shots. Everybody's playing defense.
Vickery from long range misses that. Keane brings it back in and puts it in. Forrestal with the ball. Trapped at the half. Long pass into Munger. He's in the lane. Left-hand hook too far. Bennett with the rebound on the far side. He's fouled by Keane as he went up for that shot.
Tough play there. Trevor Bennett was trapped between Ted Byrne and Martin Keane, and he just drifted back into Martin Keane and then put the shot up and got the call from the official. Tough shot to get off when you're between a guy 6'7" and another guy 6'7". And you're not.
Bennett misses the first. Skeels coming in for Munger. The score 52-51 in favor of the Canadian national team with 16 minutes to go in the game. We're here at the Ben Avery Gymnasium, Cable 7 Community Channel. carrying the Joe McDonald benefit game between the Canadian national team and Ontario's finest. Bridgeland with the ball on the outside. A lot of movement on the inside. He bangs around, coming down the lane. It looked like he had a walk, but he got away with it. A lot of pushing and shoving underneath as Walton tried to work his way out.
Excellent
And missed the
defense
shot.
there by Pasquale to force him into that mistake by Bridgeland.
Forsdell from long range. Hits nothing but
Beautiful,
glass.
a beautiful pass though to Brian Skio in behind the defense. An excellent idea.
Good alley-oop pass.
Sometimes it's tough to just thread that needle when you're trying to put it in between the man and the board, so it's a lot easier if you can just bank it off the board, and Skio's standing there, and he's 6 foot.
6'10", wide body.
Good hands, catches it, puts it back up. The defender didn't know that play. That was a new play. They hadn't run that one with the national team. Here's coming up on the replay there.
There he is, a long way. Watch Skio get that ball and then go back in as Byrne was caught out of position as he was trying to deny the pass and didn't expect it to be a shot.
Yeah, he was fighting hard to get that lead position at the front to deny the ball into Skio, and then you have no chance on that one.
Skio with the second, makes it, and that ties the game. Vickery with the ball now, coming up the floor. Thibodeau tried to feed it inside on a little spin move by Walton. On the outside is Keane to Bridgeland. Inside to Walton, he spins, left right hand hook shot is good. As we're having some technical difficulties here in trying to get the post-game festivities underway. But in any case, Hunt Hoole with the ball to Boyce. A lot of pushing underneath between Thibodeau and Skio. Back to Boyce, over to Pasquale, takes the shot from three-point land and makes it.
A great match going between Pasquale and Vickery. They're both feeling it. They're both shooting good shots. They're both hitting their shots. And they're both taking it personally.
And they're taking it personally. Here I come. You make it, I'm making it. Pasquale for three. Gets pushed down, but no call that time. Bridgeland comes up the floor to Vickery. He wanted to shoot it, but Pasquale got there in time. Poole guarding Bridgeland. Over here to Walton as Keane goes down the lane. Walton pops out, looking for Thibodeau down the lane. He runs right into Hoole, and he got a call for the walk before the block.
And that was going to be a tough call. It looked like Hunt Hoole had been there for quite a while, so I think the travel was a better call from everybody's perspective.
Long pass down to Boyce. To Skio in the lane, trying to drive the lane, and he's fouled. And we'll go to the line to shoot two as Big Skio said, here I come, and the national team put the lumber on him.
That's right. Martin Keane just said you can come as hard as you want, big guy, but you're going to have to pay a price if you're going to get the ball 10 feet in the air.
And you're going to have to shoot it in from the foul line. A little tougher than the layup.
They're playing a very, very physical game here. And we just saw that offense I was telling you about in the first half, where they're spotting up little Joey Vickery at the elbows, and they're running their big guys off that screen as the ball starts to reverse. Big guy cuts down hard into the key looking to get the ball for the little bunny, and the little guy steps out. If he doesn't get it, he's right back in, screens for another guy, and it just keeps going. It's going to be a very effective offense, I think.
Skio's good on the second. And that ties us once more. We're knotted at 56-56 with 14 and a half minutes to go in the game. Vickery working against Pasquale to Bridgeland, against Toole. Out here to Walton. Thibodeau's wide open on the wing. He's got it. Over to Keane. Keane's looking inside, and Thibodeau has drawn a foul against Pasquale for the block. Pasquale blocked Thibodeau as he's trying to go down the lane. And again, we're getting some physical activity, and the referees are starting to call it.
But a call that doesn't need to be made. Had no effect on anything that was going on in the flow of the offense or the defense. Pasquale put himself in there to bump. He got bumped. He wasn't complaining. Didn't affect the offensive flow. It's just part of the game. Little mistake in assignments there as they let Thibodeau open.
Vickery for long range pounds it down. Boyce with the ball now.
A little bit of a zone that time, and that's the one drawback with the zone against this team. You've got Bridgeland and you've got Vickery who can spot up and shoot it.
Poole off the iron, fights for his own rebound. He undercuts Bridgeland. Skeel with the easy bunny.
Great play by Hunt Hoole to go after his own rebound, keep the ball alive, deflect it to Skeel by throwing his body at the ball and at Eric Bridgeland. Great tough play.
Bridgeland with the ball. Look inside, and we got another drag by number 12. This time the call goes the other way. Offensive foul on number 12, Red, as Pasquale tried that play twice. First time he got called for it, this time he gets the other call.
You see, the first time he wasn't able to get a hold of the shirt. So then when he got hit, he flew, so they knew there was contact. That time he was able to get two hands on the shirt of Martin Keene, and it didn't. Then everything that looked like it was Martin Keene's fault.
It's a good thing they don't have tearaway jerseys like they do in football, or else most of these guys would be running around a little bit obscene, I think. Pasquale working against Vickery. We have the morality squad down here shutting us down.
Well, we just saw the New Liskeard Express step out and set another screen, too.
And he set a great big screen. Thibodeau coming down for the monster dunk and hangs around for the crowd, and maybe should have been teed it up.
Tee it up.
When you're on the national team, playing against a partisan crowd like this, we're not going to do that to you.
Unless I have to go out and change the rim, Coach McHugh.
Boyce with the ball down the stairs. Pasquale with it again. Long shot, good. Three-pointer.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad to see Paul Boyce get that one. He was a great scorer when he was in the CIU. He's been just off a little bit all night, and he spotted up and drilled that three. That's good to see.
Vickery working against Pasquale. Bridgen's open. Hunt came over, made him change his shot, and he's going to be short on it. And there was a hold that Thurkel got away with. And Pasquale comes away with the outlet pass to Boyce. Boyce drives the lane, up and shot is good, as Thibodeau tried to block it as it came off the glass.
Boyce is getting into the flow. I think what happened down here is, in Rob Thurkel's terms, that's a caller anymore. It's not a foul. That was a caller the way he had a hold of that.
Thibodeau steps out on Pasquale and will be called for the block, as he occupied about the four-lane highway and just shut it down.
Joey Vickery's just discussing with the official whether he was serious about that call or just having some fun.
Vickery, being a little guy, figures that all the big guys can step out and occupy about two lanes.
He works on the premise that that's what the big guy's there for.
Probably. Set up a screen so he can shoot.
That's right.
Pasquale working against Vickery. Comes down the floor to Skeel. Looks into Boyce. Boyce, long pass over here to Pasquale. Here's the three. Short. Rebound taken away, and a foul down at this end. And saves the layup at the other end.
It was a good foul in one sense, and it was a terrible foul in the other sense. It was a great foul because it takes away the break. It was a terrible foul because it was Pasquale's fourth. And that's not a player this team can afford to be without. Brett?
Here's the replay on it, and you'll see Pasquale takes the three, follows in his own shot, and fouls the player there as he attempted to throw that long-range bomber for the fast break.
You might be getting a reaction to a shot he's not sure he should have taken after he released it, so he was trying to make up for that. And I think that Ontario's Finest are okay at the point with Brad Hand, but he's just come off playing 38 minutes. He did a creditable job, I thought, in the first half.
And the Canadian national team is handling the boards well, and we're going to get a foul on Thurkel here after the shot as number 8, Tom Johnson, let it fly from three-point land.
And they're calling it after the shot. Ball released, player down, ball on the outside, as opposed to on the shot, 3 foul shots. So that was a good call from the perspective of Ontario's Finest. Tough call for the other guys. This is a good matchup for Brad Hand. He's had a very good career here. He's in his 4th year at Laurentian, has done a good job. Last year was an OUA All-Star, has led our team from the point for a number of years now and done a great job of it. But this is playing a notch up. He's played Eric James a couple of times last year when we played Acadia at their tournament and at the Naismith, and did an excellent job both times. But Joey Vickery's a notch up. The national team flavor is a notch up. So that's a great experience for him.
Good. All comes in to help the player develop a little bit, playing against better caliber people. First one's good by Johnson.
And his shift in the first half should have helped his confidence. So he should be able to see a guy who's got, and now he's got to play some minutes because Eli, with 4 fouls, Eli Pasquale can't go back in for a little while.
Byrne coming back into the game for the national team.
And you're talking about a 1 or 2 or 3 point game. You really want that key man on the floor at the end of it. And that key man for this team is Eli Pasquale.
Johnson makes both. The game again is tied at
Here we go. We got the
63-63.
zone pressure. You bring in the young
Samuels.
guy. We're bringing in the zone pressure. Coach Shields going to.
Samuels bringing it up against James to Munger. Over to Hand. Down in there to Skeel. Munger flashes down the lane. Tipped away there on a nice play by Byrne. And the national team brings it back down the floor. Johnson to Vickery. Inside there, Byrne gets his man up and shoots it and drew the foul there as he just gives a little head fake. And Skeel bought it, looking for the block.
And he's lucky because he'd killed himself with that dribble. I mean, Ted Byrne's going to realize a little later in life that in the international game, he gets the ball there. He just better take it to the hole without the dribble. He didn't need the dribble. It just let him get comfortable, and that let Skeel get back into
the
it.
replay. He put him up in the air and then drew the foul. Had Skeel played tough defense, Byrne would not be at the line right now.
And he wouldn't have got a hoop.
Makes the first one.
Watching Brad Hand on that last shift, I think the big guys are going to like him. He's not holding on to the ball very long. He's just head manning it to whoever's open. The big guys really respect that in a point guard.
Samuels a little easy on that pass. Consequently, it was stolen by Byrne on a quick move. Johnson for three. Munger sets it down to Samuels. Looking down in there for Skeel. Munger flashes the lane again.
Oh, got to have a look at him. It's Eric James against Barry Munger.
Here's Hunt Hool from way outside. Samuels fakes the shot, takes it in the lane. Nice little jump shot off the bank, and he misses. And we have a foul called there on Byrne as Samuels took that little baby jumper.
I think that's a third foul on Ted Byrne. Coach Shields wasn't very happy with that call. We've got a timeout to the Ontario's finest. Coach Mulvihill going to have a look at that zone pressure, how they're going to break it, and then what zone offense they're going to get into because the national team's coming out of the zone pressure into a backcourt zone.
Here's the replay of that last shot by Rob Samuels, and you watch number 13 move under him and then fall as he tried to block him out before the player came back down to the floor.
And early in that play, Rod, you see the difference between high school basketball, even CIU basketball, and this level. When Rob Samuels made the initial move, the defensive player had two hands on him, and you saw Samuels use one hand to clear him out of there so he could make his offensive move. At our level or at the high school level, that's an automatic foul. Here, it's just a fact of life. You want to get open to get your shot, you better have that move in your repertoire or they're just going to hold you.
It's a much more physical game. The rules are bent just a little bit.
Now, I think when we see this zone defense, if the national team stays with that, and I think they will, because they must be happy with what the pressure's doing. It's turned the ball over once. They've delayed the progress up the floor every time. And I think when they get back into the zone, you're going to find that Coach Mulvihill is going to go high-low. He's got two big guys, so he's going to go with a high post and a low post, move the ball around the perimeter, try and pound it in and out, using the big guys to kick it back out for the scores, or using the big guys go partner to partner inside for the score. And with Hunt Hool out there, Brad Hand, if he relaxes, and Rob Samuels, you've got three guys who can spot up and shoot the ball. So if it goes in and comes back out, you're going to have some great three-point opportunities. And with the big guys they've got, Barry Munger and Brian Skeel on the floor, you're going to have some great inside opportunities.
Again, with Brad Hand being the most inexperienced guard out there at this level of play, is talking to Eli Pasquale on the sidelines, getting some ideas. I think Eli said, you're giving up the ball too quickly. You're the man. You got to do it.
And that's why we let him play tonight, because we figured every minute would be an experience and every minute would be part of a clinic. And Eli just gave him a great clinic, I'm sure, and it's going to benefit Brad. And Brad is one of the smartest guys I've ever coached for taking advice and for using advice extremely well. So anything he picks up here, we'll see every night he plays from now on, and that's going to make us a better team, and Bradley a much better ball player, and he's a great player right now.
Rob Samuels good on his first shot. Here's the second. Good. Makes it a three-point game in favor of the national team as James brings the ball up against Hool. Keen's back in the game down there working against Munger. Thibodeau, Johnson on the outside, steps in, kicks it to James. He doesn't shoot it. Passes it into Thibodeau for the baby jumper on the baseline, and it's out. Munger with the rebound.
And Eric James a little bit like Brad Hand with with the Ontario's finest. He's only been with the national team for a couple of weeks, so he's a little more hesitant to look for his shot. He thinks better let those other high-priced guys get the shooting in.
Here's the zone. Samuels from way outside, in and out. And Vickery with the ball coming right down the lane will stop and shoot the three from the other side and gets the shooter's roll, and it's in.
And that's that blue line again. Once he gets to the blue line, Joey feels pretty comfortable, and up goes the jumper. And they've got to step out and stop that. You've got to recognize the hot hand and not let him get that far.
Samuels with the ball now on the outside against James. Throws it to somebody who wasn't there. He's wearing a red shirt. That's a two-pointer, and it's good.
Coach Mulvihill might be looking for another timeout quickly. They got a little bit of a run going here. If he doesn't get a basket here, he might think about it. They've got to be just a bit more patient.
Munger misses a baby jumper as he doesn't get the roll.
They got what they wanted. They weren't that patient, but they got the ball inside to their big guy and a mismatch, and he missed the putback.
You got to make them pay when you get open like that. Here's a three-pointer from Vickery. It's good.
And Brad Hand got a little lesson. He got bumped over here to get open. Joey pushed him away and popped open. Then Brad fought back and took away the spot-up shot, but Joey drilled the dribbled three-pointer.
Brad Hand with the ball now. Point. Brings it over against Johnson in that 3-2 zone. National team is playing.
They're going to have to take the ball in. They got to use their posts a little better the way the defense is being played. They're spotted up on the shooters, keeping the zone wide, and that's not going to give you your outside shooters.
And zone defense prevented the shot before the shot clock came due.
And that was close, because once the ball's out of Brian Skio's hands, that shot is ignored if the ball touches the rim in NC2A rules. And that was pretty close. It wasn't out of his hands yet, but it was on its way, and a half second earlier they'd have been okay, because the shot hit the rim and therefore would have stayed in play, and they'd have played through the horn in spite of the horn going off, because the whistle is the only thing that stops the play in basketball.
Again, Peter, in all fairness to Ontario's finest, when the national team goes into a zone against a group of players who have not played together, who did not probably have learned the same zone offense from different places that they've played at, it's to the advantage of the national team.
Big time.
And the Ontario finest started looking very tentative in what they were trying to do, and eventually went to the experience of Munger inside, and he tried to do something with it. But they're just coming up a little short, and as you say, there's a little bit of a run made here, and we now have 11-point bulge for the national team on a little bit of full court pressure, changing the defense a little bit, and of course Ontario's finest getting a little bit tired, missing some easy shots.
That's right. And I mean, from their perspective, Barry Munger's got to make those shots. I mean, it's a tough world, but that's what he does, and that's what he's got to make, and they can't afford to miss the ones they have to make. They're going to make some tough shots. They're going to miss some tough shots. But when they get a shot like that that's supposed to go in, it has to go in, or they're going to lose this stretch here. And what they've got to do right now is they've got to keep this 11-point gap and close it gradually. They can't let this get beyond 11 points. If they do, then it's going to be tougher and tougher to close it, because the momentum is swinging. They're getting a little tired. Now, Coach Mulvihill's made some substitutions. We're seeing the move to Pasquale coming back, because you can't get down more than this. And even though there's 8 minutes back in, he's there. And he's checking Vickery.
And he's fouled out, I'd say.
No, I think that was on
Boyce?
McKibben. Or Boyce. Yeah, McKibben. Boyce, I think, the way he's arguing, I think
No,
Boyce thinks it's on him.
No, well, it is on him, but Boyce is arguing that the timeout was called by Ontario's finest, which meant that they had possession of the ball, but the national team got the ball and coming the other way.
Just good coaching.
Here's Vickery driving the lane, and there's the reach in by number 22, McKibben, so the foul is on Jeff McKibben.
Now, Boyce has to remember, you don't have to have, if the ball was out of bounds and you called the timeout, doesn't matter whose ball it was, either team can call it. Here we see the same little press. And just a little bit of panic here, and Jeff McKibben got the ball there, and instead of having a look down the floor first, he went right back right away. And The whole goal, I would think, is to get the ball into the middle to Pasquale's hands. They've got Pasquale going back and forth in the middle to try and help them break the press. And one.
Nice little play there. Boyce, a great peripheral vision player, got the ball in the lane, knew that McKibben's coming down behind him, just a little flip behind the back pass.
And you don't have to play a lot together to know that. Paul Boyce was a great CIU player in the university game. He was a great scorer. McKibben was a great player in the CIU game and a great scorer. And you have a sense, where would a scorer go? You're a scorer, you know what you do. You're anticipating him to make that same kind of move. And those two guys were both CIU All-Canadians the same year, so it's paid off.
National team, James coming down on offense, looking for Vickery on the outside. Vickery trying to drive against Houle. No feed he can make inside. McKibben comes way out here against Thibodeau. A little outsized out there. McKibben trying to use his quickness against Thibodeau. James a little shot. Good.
And that's a little dribble jumper. Eric James was always good with that move. Here we go.
And he's fouled in there by Thibodeau, who wasn't going to give up the layup.
And Rob Samuels thought about taking it hard, thought about doing all kinds of things, and then decided, gee, you know, Monday I probably got to be back at work. I better not open myself up to this one, and maybe if I can get this little bunny to fall, I'm going to make this a three-point play.
In any case, he's going to the line, shooting 2. And I think that was the 5th foul on number 15, Thibodeau, and he'll be leaving the game as 6'8" forward out of Summerside PEI. Dean Thibodeau with his 5th foul, the team's 9th.
And Dean's been in and out with the national team over the last couple of years. Had some, been with them most of the last summer, and had a pretty good experience with them in that scenario. Was an All-Canadian the year before, season before at Dalhousie in Halifax. Has had a pretty good basketball career. Now he's embarking on trying to make this World Championship team. The tryouts for that obviously will be held a little later. They're centralizing now. They're playing the Big East. They're off to Europe a little later. They're going to be in centralizing starting in January with this group of players and those guys that are available. And then once that season ends and the winter season around the world ends, and there'll be other players enter into the picture of the national team, and Coach Shields will have to have a tryout camp and reduce his roster to the 15 guys, 12 of whom are going to represent Canada in the World Championships in August in Toronto against the world's best basketball players.
And again, he can't be complaining about his court time here with the other big players not here for the national team. He got a lot of court time and used up all his fouls.
Oh, that's a great thing for these guys. I mean, they get an opportunity to play and prove to Coach Shields that they belong.
Made both his shots there, and it brings it to a 10-point game. Walton out to Johnson. Johnson travels. Good move. You can get away with it.
Be a great move if they get away with it.
As you can see, a 10-point bulge here for the national team, and they've taken off that full court pressure. Probably going to play it only when they score.
Got that little, you got the 3-2. The 3-2. They're leaving the high post open, and Ontario's Finest has got to use that high post with the ball. Paul Boyce can shoot the ball from there. He can pass the ball really well from there.
McKibben spins on the baseline, takes a shot. Boyce tips it in. McKibben was fouled a couple of times, but there was no call made. And Boyce, with his great leaping ability, tipped that one in. 8-point game now.
That was great.
7 minutes to go.
Great rebound by Paul.
James dribbling in, passes it off. Shot intimidated by McKibben, and Pasquale brings it down the floor.
National team's got to look to do that. They're trying to take Eric James against Eli Pasquale and penetrate past him in the hope that he'll reach and take his 5th foul. And for Eli, that's a very difficult situation, because you want to play defense, but you can't afford to.
Pasquale missed a 3. Walton throws it out here to Vickery. He's coming right down the lane. We've seen this all night. When he wants to, Peter, he just says, I'm coming and I'm going to lay it in.
And you saw Pasquale bail out of there because he can't afford an interpretation by the official that's going to end his game. And it's hard on a player to make those
Samuels
choices.
drives down, kicks it out here to McKibben. He's doubled. Vickery pushing hard on him. To Pasquale, he comes in. Fakes the pass into Samuels, to Boyce. Over here to McKibben. He's way out. He stepped out of bounds. Bridgeton comes back into the game, replacing Johnson for the national team.
They're staying outside the zone, and I would think that's working to the great advantage of the zone. A 3-2 zone is a perimeter zone. You're looking to defend the perimeter very well, and they're doing a good job of that. And Ontario's Finest playing into their hands by keeping their offense geared to the perimeter. They've got to get it inside and force those guys to play them.
Vickery with another three-pointer.
Thank you, ma'am. Wow. Joey Vickery is a fire.
Pass into the corner to Houle. Long pass over to Samuels. He's looking to attack that zone. Turns, takes a shot, short. Rebound in there by Boyce. Back out to Pasquale. Boyce, that's a big screen. Passes over to Houle, and he drains a three.
Now that's the first easy shot the Ontario Finest has had in a while. I was just going to make that point. The national team have been getting some open shots, and they've been hitting them. Ontario Finest have been working too hard to get their shots and ending up with very difficult shots. Hunt Houle just took their first open one.
Vickery says, well, I'm going to shoot another one, and he did.
And that's an open shot for him. And at some point, you've got to decide Joey Vickery's not touching the ball tonight because he's hot. And if you let him have it, you can't do much about it after he's got it.
Pass into the corner to Houle, way outside here to Samuels. Off the iron. Rebound tipped away by the national team, and they get a break. And they'll have the ball as we have a timeout by Ontario's Finest with 4.5 minutes to go. It's 88-75 in favor of the national team.
Major,
they are taking, as you said, Peter, a better shot selection.
Yep. A little more patience in the offense, but more importantly, a lot more ball movement. Ontario's Finest, the ball movement is slow and very methodical about going around anywhere. Everybody that gets it's looking for something, trying to create something. Whereas the national team right now are just moving the ball very quickly. It goes from player A to player B and on to the next guy without a thought. Not everybody's looking to score.
But again, player A to player B to player C and so on is an offense. Ontario's Finest doesn't have a zone offense and are just working it on moxie alone. And sometimes that just doesn't work against a good team.
Well, it makes it tougher. And it makes it tougher when you're getting tired and they're still reasonably fresh, although they must be getting a little bit tired too because they're down to 7 players to play. I think what you got to get is the Ontario Finest got to get a little better shot selection. They've got to use the inside-outside scenario. I think if they can get the ball into Boyce or whoever's at the high post, you'll find that national team zone defense will collapse a little bit, and then their outside shooters will be a little more open. Nobody right now has got a particularly hot hand for the Ontario Finest, other than maybe Hunt Houle. The other end of the court, Joey Vickery's on fire. He might be able to turn his back and put it up and have it go in.
Yeah, it looks that way. He can do anything tonight. Peter, the one time that Ontario's Finest looked like they had a little bit of offensive movement, got that open shot. What happened there is Boyce set a big screen up on the top of that 3-2 reverse, and the screening against the zone. What's your opinion of that?
It works great as long as you pick the right guy and the guy with the ball makes the right choice. But you can screen a zone anytime. You can either trap it in, you can screen the wing of a zone, or screen the point of a zone. In a scenario where that player has to stay with the defensive coverage, he can be screened out all the time.
And we have an offensive foul called there against number 11, Dwight Walton, who's walking up there with the ball saying, are we sure about this, guys?
Again, I think it's a pretty good call because I think Paul Boyce was in good position. The argument might be about the severity of the contact, whether there was enough contact from Dwight's perspective as an international player to make it a foul. But certainly there was contact, and certainly Paul Boyce was in the right position for it to be a charge.
Up the floor, passes into Boyce on the outside. They're going to rotate it around as the national team's back into man-to-man. Pasquale picks it up, being checked by James. Forrestal coming around a big screen at the top. Little kick out to Samuels, he's short. And we have a rebound and a fast break to Vickery, and he puts it up and good. As Walton got that ball out of there in a hurry, and Vickery just said, I'm going, give me it.
There's the complete package. He made a layup. He's made everything else tonight.
There's a little foul inside as number 11, Dwight Walton, pushed in his attempt to get to the ball, and Paul Boyce will go to the line.
Boyce had good position, sealed him. They put the ball up in the air, and as with most players, Dwight Walton didn't have the patience to sort of hold his position or try and get around, so he just came over the top trying to get at the ball. A contact's got to be a foul on the defense.
A 15-point lead with 3.5 minutes to go here in the game. Paul Boyce at the line trying to cut that lead.
And it's just opened up here in the last minute or 2 minutes. And all because of the pressure, the foul trouble to Pasquale, which Ontario's Finest knew was a key to their game. Eli Pasquale staying available, playing well, which he's done. When he had to go out, that hurt them.
Makes one of two for a 14-point lead by the national team. Bringing the ball up on a little half-court pressure. And they throw it away as Byrne misjudged his jump and probably should have backed up as opposed to moving forward. Little break there for the Finest.
Very difficult to break any kind of zone pressure with that baseball pass.
Pasquale over here to Forrestal. Long-range bomber off the iron. James and Pasquale fight for it. Jump ball being called, and it'll be Ontario Finest possession. Pasquale took a little bit of a chance going in that reach and grabbed the ball. Luckily, the call went our way.
Our way?
Our
with luck.
way,
With
yeah.
luck. I think the referees are aware of the scenario, and I mean, if that had been a call, it would have been a very cheap call. And I think hopefully they're aware of the fact that Pasquale's got 4, and they're not going to foul him out unless it's a serious thing. Little misread there. Mike Forrestal saw an opening coming into the corner. Rob Samuels unfortunately saw the opening coming somewhere else. The ball went to the corner, and Rob Samuels didn't. Again,
James
playing
working the ball.
together cures that.
That's true. James working the ball out. Big Keane coming to set a screen up Pasquale. Munger's looking for him on the inside. Here they come down the lane. And the basket's going to count.
There it is. Joey, the ball has eyes Vickery tonight. And they called a foul on Rob Samuels after the shot, which he didn't believe. There wasn't much contact, and certainly Joey probably didn't think there was much contact. I've seen him in games where he's being laid out on the floor and still making those shots. He is a tough guy, and he plays hard, and he plays through physical play because everybody looks at him and says, if we rough this guy up, he won't be effective. And so they rough him up, and he just shoots and backs out, and shoots and backs out, and shoots, and then goes by it. But he certainly put on a shooting clinic tonight.
Pasquale with the ball now working against James. Here's the shot. He's fouled.
And that should be for 3 shots. And I can't believe Eric's arguing that one. I mean, there was definitely contact on that one. Now, Coach Shields is arguing too, so unless he knows something that Pasquale did for 5 years at Victoria to draw a foul.
To draw a foul like that, perhaps.
And if that's true, then he's getting his own back now.
That's right. He probably taught him to move.
And if not, certainly encouraged it. So it's good to see it came back to haunt him. But it certainly looked from here like a foul on James. He looked like he made contact with Pasquale while he was in the air on the shot.
There's the first one's good.
And Ontario's Finest are going to play this down the last 3 minutes.
Second one's good.
We're going to be in a 16-point ball game here. And they're still playing hard, and they're still working hard. And I think that's a compliment to all of them.
And it makes the third and brings it down to a 15-point game. A little bit of half court. Vickery passes it up here to James. He just waits, reads the spread, kicks it out to Byrne. Looking for Vickery out here. Vickery's coming down, kicks it to James. He's not going to shoot it. They're waiting to see if they can get Vickery open. He's the hot hand. And James will try the shot, and he misses. They crash the boards.
What a great play.
Well, when you know your other teammates can jump high, just tip it up, and one of them's going to get over there on a hustle, and that's what they did there.
Ontario's Finest just waited for the ball to come down, and the national team didn't.
A little bit of a delay game out here now. They're giving James a lane. Here's a pass and the shot. James gets in there and gets the rebound. There's no blockout attempt there by the Ontario Finest.
Well, that's death. You've done a good job. These guys have run the clock down. They've finally been forced to put up a shot. They've missed 2 of them, and they've got both rebounds. So that kills you. You're doing a good job. You're just not getting anything for it because you don't fight to the bitter end.
Here's Vickery with the ball. Draws a foul as he comes down the lane. As we're just being mesmerized by ball control here by the Canadian national team. And they're just showing that they've probably decided, hey, we can salt this game away by letting the clock run out.
Plus, it's excellent practice. They're going to the Big East. The Big East plays with a longer clock than the 30-second clock. So, again, you're going to be in scenarios, they hope, where there are going to be some close games at the end. Are they going to be able to handle the ball and pull the other team out, force them to match up, see if they can create some offensive scores that will salt the game away? So it's a great situation for them. They're in a scenario where they have a lead that can't be beaten now, and they get a great opportunity against guys who are competing.
Pasquale working against James. Minute 22 to go. Pasquale with the three is good. Vickery brings it up quickly. He's got the lane, kicks it out. And James pushes it down the floor very easily. Pasquale comes back for the finest. Over to Houle.
Vickery showing he's not a selfish player the way he shares the ball.
James has it. Vickery's open, but James says, let's pull it out and do something with it. Well, Vickery says, I'll shoot it. I'm hot. Why not? Only got around 40-some points.
Well, that's good. As far as I know, the gym high might be 56 for Rob Samuels, and if Joey hasn't challenged it, it's not his fault.
Well, he's got another chance now with 30 seconds left to add to his scoring points. Be interesting to see how much he's got.
He's got 53, we just heard, so if he gets one more, he'll tie Rob Samuels' output one night with 56. Let's see if he can't get a chance. I'm sure that he's thinking about it if nobody else is.
We got 7 seconds left. There's the shot off the rim. Crowd's giving applause here to both teams.
We got 1.3 seconds left on the clock.
And the crowd is standing here cheering these teams as we see the national team, Ontario's finest, put forth a tremendous effort here. That long shot off the front iron by Hunt Houle. As both teams congratulate each other on a hard-fought game. Final score, 101-82 in favor of the Canadian national team. And here the Joe McDonald charity basketball game. It's a benefit event in memory of Constable Joe McDonald of the Sudbury Regional Police.
And if that had gone in, Rod, it might have been a fitting end to the night because it was quite a good shot by Hunt, and it was right off the front rim. I thought it was a great game. I thought the crowd hung in there and stayed around because of the event and because of the quality of the play. Sure, Coach Shields is pleased with it because that's the toughest game he's had to this point. The Ontario's finest have to be pleased because they know they played hard and they know they did a good job. So it was a great night at the Ben Avery Gym.
A great night of basketball indeed. On behalf of Peter Campbell and I'm Rod McHugh, thank you for